Hi, it's Rupert Hine here from Action Coach Nick and Ross, and I'm joined today by Jack Le Feuvre from Le Freak Records. Welcome, Jack.
Hello.
So, Jack, you're running a record store in Dundee. Um,
Yes.
what took you to set up your own record store?
So the idea came from when I used to live in Aberdeen and I worked at a record shop and realized I enjoyed it and came back to Dundee, found a host of opportunities really once I'd graduated. So did a course on how to create a business plan with the Dundee Council. They gave us a grant. We got funding. We got a loan from the bank. Found a shop and found a premises. And 7 years later, we're still going. I'm surprised at, but yeah, that's
Well,
just that's the story of it.
yeah, I mean, 7 years is a long time in business.
Yes.
So,
hmm
so why records?
So always had the love for music. And I think in terms of before we had the shop, they were definitely increasing in popularity. We weren't sure if that was going to continue or plateau. So it was a bit of a risk in terms of starting a business around records. Um, but we went for it, and luckily the sales have it's not been a fad, and people are continuing to buy them. So yeah.
Yeah, so
And a love of music. Sorry, Rupert. A love of music, which is
yeah,
obvious.
absolutely. So and anyone who trips across your website,
hmm
you're definitely bright, colourful, and a bit different. But
hmm
what is it that you've set out to create with the Freak Records that sets you apart from other music stores?
Don't know if this sets us apart, but we created something, a place where we would like to hang out. Um, we also do events and things as well, so that's another part of the business that helps to keep us go, to it helps us survive. But it was just we wanted to create a place where people like ourselves would like to go, to spend time in and be part of that community. So I think that's what we set out to do.
I mean, it's definitely the way to go to create
Mhm.
create an experience that people want to come to. So
Yeah.
so what did you do to design that experience?
Mhm.
You've started with something that you would want to go to. Good
Mhm.
start.
Yeah. It's design it. So my brother is very like talented when it comes to graphic design. And I think he had a big input in the design of the shop, if that's what you're asking, like and the branding and things like that. So that's definitely one thing that creates it unique. In terms of designing it, I don't know, it happened naturally. We didn't have anything set out in our heads, and then it just kind of went where the wind blew, and it led us to where we are now. Yeah, it was not very well planned. It was all just kind of pissing in the wind, see where it goes. Mhm.
So I mean, for all that, it's clearly you've created something that attracts people in.
Mhm.
You've got your events that adds to that. So what is it that you? I suppose how many people have you got working with you?
So three, it's a small, but then when we do events, there's more people that get involved. But in terms of the core shop, it's very much a small, me and my brother predominantly. So yeah, incredibly small in terms of business advice. I probably can't give much in terms of running a grander thing, but yeah, it's very, very small business. Yeah,
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, but it's small in a niche market.
exactly. Well, that's the thing. That's a good point. Yeah, exactly.
And creating a niche that you sit in is a really powerful thing. So
hmm
how do you find your customers or encourage them to find you?
Good. So promotion's quite a big thing. How do we find them? I guess social media helps, undoubtedly, in this day and age. I like to, I like to make videos, so that's one way you can reach people and put them on social media. Um, Obviously the events is publicity, merchandise. Yeah, it's hard to answer that one, Rupert, but I think those things are one way that we do it. Yeah.
So when you think about that journey, you're 7 years into running your own business.
Hmm.
What would you say the the secret to your success has been?
I think, we're not like a business that's there to make lots of money. I think being like genuine, I think we're doing it because we love music, and I feel like we're doing it for the right reasons. So I think in that sense, and I don't think we'll change in that regard. We're doing it because we love music and we love what we've made. It's no like there's no evil intentions or greed behind it. So I think that probably helps. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's vision, it's a business driven by passion.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And what would you say? So if you look back on that journey, those 7 years,
Mhm.
what would you say the biggest lesson is that you've learned?
Um, don't beat yourself up when you make mistakes. I think that's one thing. Especially because I had no prior experience running or starting a business, so obviously you're going to make mistakes. And I've made a few in my time, and then just don't beat yourself up. Realize that that's part of the process, um, and go for it. As I said, we had no business experience. I always thought, how the hell do people like end up running a shop? How do you even do that? You know what I mean? And then we managed to do it, and I realized that it's actually not that difficult. You just gotta persevere when you feel like giving up. You'll eventually get there
Yeah, I mean
if you want it.
resilience is really important when you're
Hmm.
running a business. And yeah, I mean, I suppose the the educational system, particularly nowadays, seems to encourage people to believe that everyone is equally successful, and you don't go for failure. And yet, in reality, failure is the biggest learning opportunity we all get.
Yeah,
Um,
totally. And I think I'm in a continual. I hope I'm in a continual process of that until I die. You know what I mean? You never know everything. Um, yeah. So I think I'll maintain my mistake making habit for a long time.
Absolutely. I used to work with a load of really fantastic scientists, world-class scientists, and
Mhm.
that's pretty much what they were doing the whole time. Every experiment was
Yeah,
one step closer to success. Didn't matter what the result was, it was still one step closer to success. And I was
yeah.
working with people who've been working on the same project for 20 years and they still haven't cracked it.
Hmm.
So it's incredibly powerful. How do you how do you go about instilling that resilience to keep going despite the
That's
occasional challenge?
that's a good question. I really don't know. I don't know how you would. Because, yeah, I guess it comes to other things in life. It doesn't have to just be business. If you're like if you set yourself, I'm going to do this every day, whether it's related to business or not, and you do it every day, I guess you're building up resilience in a sense. In terms of, I don't know, how do you teach that? It's a mentality thing, I guess.
Yeah. So what have you found that's helped you through the yeah, being in business is a bit like being on a roller coaster.
Yeah,
There's some
yeah,
fantastic highs, and then you go through the dips and
yeah.
rise out the other side. But what have you found that's helped you ride through the lows and back up the other side?
Being able to turn off has definitely been something. At the end of the day, you've got to have time to think about other things. But when you run your own business, it is very much 24/7. So being able to turn off helps. You look at things through a different perspective, I guess. You're not so swallowed by it. What was the question again? Sorry, man.
Yeah, no,
Um,
no. What are some of the techniques you've used that help you build
oh,
that resilience and see you through the tough times?
um, knowing that it could be worse. I think we've kind of because we've survived COVID. I think that was a real low. Because we honestly didn't think we were going to open again. So in that regards, every like challenge I've faced since, it could always be worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the challenges of the past.
Hmm.
What's next?
Oh,
Where's Le Freak Records going over the next 5, 10 years?
I don't. I think I don't know. I think maybe larger events potentially. Continue to have like a continue to do be valuable in a cultural way for the city and Scotland. Um, I think maybe potentially bigger premises. Who knows? It's hard to predict. I don't have a set out plan, but just try and continue what we're doing because we're relatively happy.
Fantastic. And if there was one piece of advice you could give your 18-year-old self starting out on this journey, what would it be?
Um, I think I could probably what I said earlier about don't beat yourself up when you make mistakes. Um, And to be honest, on a more practical sense, probably have contracts in place. Because sometimes I have got into agreements with people in certain aspects, and there was no contract in place. So I think cover yourself in that regard, because it is a business at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one thing to generate the that informal setting to encourage the
Mhm.
customer. It's another thing
Yes,
behind the
yeah,
counter.
especially when money is involved as well. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, very best of luck on your journey.
thank you,
Um,
Rupert.
Resilience is a phenomenal thing to possess,
Yeah.
and it's right up and power on, and yeah, see how many people you can impact over the coming years.
Yeah, yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much.